I'm very proud of the collections. They're my babies. Every single little detail has been agonized over. Design is all about collaboration.
We have a lot of deep interactions with interior designers. They're using materials, they're using form, they're using color, and we incorporate those ideas and those trends into what we do for our Monogram products.
When I've really used a product, I can speak soundly to the product, and clients will listen. My design aesthetic would be melding the old with the new, because I feel like I'm the steward to carry that history forward, and I think it really gives a project soul, and partnering with a company like Monogram is pretty special. The Statement Collection has this sort of traditional feel with contemporary accents to it.
When we think about the Statement Collection for Monogram, it really comes down to extremely intentional design.
You have to carefully choose materials that are going to be timeless and last forever. The design process often takes many years, and so you're always having to look far ahead. I mean, this was huge for Monogram to come out with 2 new collections at the same time.
When we think about the minimalist collection, we think about the person who wants to walk into their kitchen and have a serene environment. Everything is in its place. Everything is harmonious. The essence of minimalism is breaking down to just the bare essentials and then do that very, very, very well.
Appliances used to really stand out, but more and more you do want everything to blend together, and then some of those really rich materials and textures become more of a showpiece within the kitchen.
When you take away the decoration and you just see the materials and the processes, then it really draws attention to how that is put together.
We'll look cross-industry, we'll look at automotive, fashion, furniture, electronics, translating those into beautiful, easy-to-use, and manufacturable products. So the end result is a product that is going to delight the consumer and have a lot of value to them.
For designers, working on Monogram luxury products, it's kind of like the top of the iceberg. You really get to design amazing products, amazing interactions. We have a lot of fun designing Monogram products. We really do.
Hello, on behalf of Monogram, thank you for joining the Monogram Luxury Appliances for the evolution of product design. I'm excited for this conversation because we are going to look behind the scenes at what it takes to bring a product to life. Please, we're going to have plenty of time for questions, so absolutely put your questions in the chat. I'm sure lots of things are going to come up as you hear about what it does take to bring a product to life. And we're going to start at the beginning. We're going to get an idea of the big picture of the process and the product design. And so to get us started are Mark and Becca. Mark and Becca, would you please introduce yourselves to all of us?
Hi, my name is Rebecca Alford, and I'm the principal industrial designer for Monogram. And I had the pleasure of being the lead designer on the new Minimalist and Statement collections.
Hi, I'm Mark Hottenroth, and I'm the Executive Director of Industrial Design for Monogram. And so I have a team of industrial designers and interaction designers. What we do is we make amazing products that delight in our consumers and designers and create features and appearances that people love.
Love it. I love it. So, Rebecca, let's get started with where does industrial design, what do you do? Do you look for trends? How do you design things that you're working on now may not come out onto the market for several years? You have to think about things standing the test of time, don't you? How do you do that, and what characteristics do you look for?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, the products that we're working on aren't going to come out for 2 to 5 years. So we need to be forecasting the future to really be developing things that consumers are going to want and are going to look great in the future. Similar to interior designers, we look outside of our industry to get inspiration and to see how things are shifting and how that will then affect the kitchen environment. So for us, we look cross-industry, we look at automotive, fashion, architecture, the restaurant industry, what's going on there, food trends, consumer electronics, and so we're looking for those big picture macro trends, and then we develop themes, and you start to see themes across all of these things, and we interpolate those down and see how that is going to affect the kitchen environment.
So that's so interesting to think that you would be looking at themes that are emerging in the restaurant industry and the automotive industry and all of the places that you mentioned, and that there are commonalities. As a layperson, we don't think about that, but that's your job to think about it, right? So, Mark, how do you take that information that you are gathering from all the various industries and then, bring that together what the consumer is thinking and doing? Are there things that you do as a company to get insights on what we're thinking?
Sure. We take all the trends and the information that Becca was talking about, and we kind of create these themes but we have to synthesize all those ideas into something like tangible that we could show consumers and also show designers. And that kind of is part of the creative process. It's not necessarily linear all the times. We take a lot of inputs, we kind of think about them, we create ideas, and then we get a lot of feedback. And part of that is to say, hey, are these ideas or these themes that we're focusing on, do they resonate? We also look for, a lot of emotion. Do you hate them? Hopefully not. Do you love them? We hope so. And then we build on those and continue to iterate. There's a couple different ways we go about this. It's with interior designers. We do the typical, ask them and show them concepts, and they'll still tell us what they think. We also do observation research, so in-home observation. We watch people using their appliances. Monogram consumers love to use their appliances, and we watch what they're doing and seeing if there's any ways we can improve or workarounds that we can take as insights to improve on. And then also we'll do co-creation exercises. So we kind of say it's a say, do, make scenario. And the interesting thing is in the co-creation exercises, what the consumers and designers make typically have a lot of emotion behind them because they really put a lot of effort into showing what they've made and then describe it in really interesting ways. So a lot of that is, again, it's a part of an iterative process, but it's a lot of rich information that we can use and we can incorporate into our product designs.
So I'm not sure what I expected you to say when I answered that question. I thought you might have said, yeah, we send a couple of surveys out to people who like to cook. It's beyond comprehension, the level that you as a company, Monogram, puts into the R&D of all the features into your product. It's remarkable, and I am excited to understand it and learn it. And I'm curious, is there any particular feature in the new Pro range that you can think of that was directly from one of these interactions with a consumer or a designer that you ended up putting into the new Pro range?
Well, it's really interesting. I think part of it, especially when we're talking about design to designers, and especially interior designers and kitchen designers, when we start talking about the range and the Pro range needs to fit into the environment that they're creating. We want to be harmonious. We want to be able for our product to be installed and look like it's always been there. The same as interior designers. They want to have interiors that look like that kitchen has been there and it belongs there and it's perfect, right? So as we look and talk to interior designers about like the style spectrum and where things are moving and how our product can incorporate and be seamless within that environment. There's kind of like the traditional, and then transitional is kind of the transitional styles in between, and then all the way to the kind of contemporary. And we think, okay, think about the Pro range and the Pro range DNA. Very robust, it's sturdy, it kind of has this heritage of commercial kitchens. But you think about a commercial range putting in this environment, it's just way too clunky, way too overbearing. We want it to be more sympathetic with the environment. So what we've done is we've looked at this continuum of this kind of traditional, clunky, all the way up to much more contemporary, and we've kind of honed in on the perfect sweet spot, if you will, of that style spectrum.
Okay, so interesting. And I have to say, looking at the pictures of the Pro range, first of all, absolutely stunningly beautiful, right? It literally looks like art. It truly does. It reminds me of when you really look at some high end automobile, and it's just as much as it's beautiful and powerful and functional, right? How about that, Becca? The brass accents on it. Is there a story there with the brass accents? Because they're striking.
Thank you. Yeah, so like Mark mentioned, we start with the end user. And so for us, the Pro range user wants a very powerful and precise tool, but it also has to exude luxury and fine craftsmanship. And so, brass really came about because, on a high performance range, brass burners are the most powerful burners. The ports don't deform under high heat temperatures. And so that cue, we had that cue already on the range. It communicates power and precision. So then when we went in to develop, for example, the knob, as you can see here, so we were playing with form. Of course, this knob had to feel very precise and firm in your grip. It had to feel very solid. And so you can see that we went through lots of different form iterations, textures, materials, and made prototypes, got them into people's hands, made sure that it felt right. Because as you're cooking, you want that to just feel perfect. And so we landed on brass because, again, we already had that power and performance story in the burners. It's also widely used in the kitchen industry. It's very trendy, yet it's also so timeless. It's been around for forever. And that color, that gold color, really communicates luxury. And so we ended up with this solid piece of brass, and it's machined. It has very crisp edges that you could only get through machining. There's no draft on the blade. It feels strong and beefy when you touch it. So that's how we ended up with the brass details.
I love it. I love that you can really tell how proud you are, the two of you, of the product that you have helped bring to market. It's inspiring to know that you have so much invested into it, and your passion for it is coming through. So I don't want you two to go anywhere, but I'm going to bring on Dave and Richard. So I'd love for Dave and Richard to introduce themselves, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the development of the product. So Dave, tell us who you are and how you fit into this story.
Yeah, happy to be here. My name is David Calvert. So I am the Director of Product Management for Monogram Cooking Products. And I had the pleasure of actually seeing this new Pro range go from just a concept all the way through to where we are now, which is going into production.
Awesome. And Richard, hi, how are you? Good to see you again.
Hey, Luann. Great to see you. Pleasure to be here. So hello, everyone. I'm Richard Aniskevich, and an interior designer and creative director for Monogram Appliances.
All right. So Dave, tell us, at what point does your team become involved, the product development team? Where do you fit into all of this?
Yeah, sure. So the product team is really involved very early on. I think many times working hand in hand with our marketing teams and our design teams as we're going out trying to talk to our consumers, talking to our design community, trying to kind of understand what this product is. And then as concepts progress, we pull in more resources from our engineering and our technology teams as we try to kind of hone in on what's that final feature pack for this product.
And from your standpoint, what are some of the most important elements that you have to take into consideration?
Yeah, so on the product side, we're really focused on delivering features and products that are going to work well, so they're going to be dependable for our consumers and ultimately delight our consumers. So I think those are kind of the big tent poles that we're always kind of keeping as our North Star.
Love it. I love it. And Richard, as creative director, where do you fit into all of this? You're probably like all that fun, beautiful part, right?
Yeah, well, I know it's a really fun role that I'm super honored to be a part of this whole initiative and how these products come to life. And when I think about it, several years ago, truly going to the IDEO Industrial Design office and putting on a 3D headset where we were able to interact with this product in a virtual format, and now to see it today truly to be to come to life, it really makes you appreciate how much effort and energy goes behind these products. We take it kind of for granted, right? That we just think like, oh, that's a new appliance or any type of product really that comes to market. And I love being able to help share this story because it's such a thoughtfulness and attention to detail that really I think allows the end consumer to further appreciate when they understand the journey that it's taken to bring this to life.
It's so true, because at the heart of anything that grabs us, it is the story about that, right? Whether it's the story of a person that you meet, whether it's the story of a company or the story of a product, it kind of attaches the emotion to it, right? Instead of it just being a thing in a room. And so That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's so powerful to some of those images we just saw of Becca and Mark and the whole team behind this, all of those wonderful sketches. And, when you think about it, again, we're also often to just think about, oh, we just turn that knob and turn the range on, right? But you're not thinking about the amount of time and precision that has been put into, every detail to make this something truly special.
Tell me a little bit about that. Tell us about that collaboration. So you've got yourself, Mark, Becca, Dave. How does that symmetry happen and, make it all that beautiful new full range product?
Well, there is a lot of people that this has to go in front of, ultimately to get to that end product. And so I think one thing that if anyone listening has gone to design school, you can all appreciate the idea of a good design critique, right? And those are never easy. But the reality is, again, to bring a product like this to life, it has to go through many hands, not only in the design side, but of course on the business side and then marketing side. And there's a lot of effort put behind these. So I think the process is very, it's in the nature of it, it's kind of organic, and it's not as linear maybe as you might think, just because there is so many different people consulting, on this product, and there's a lot of feedback that's constantly being given to just make this thing its very best. But the wonderful thing that I've really so appreciated, kind of getting into this world further is just there is, to your point, a wonderful synergy amongst all these people. And again, a genuine passion to just strive for excellence. And that's what's so cool, is I think when you have, that common goal, if you will, then you can respect and see others' opinions, even though you might, be seeing it a little bit differently. But, at the end of the day, it lies at this core or foundation that, we're trying to do something great together.
Well, it is so clear, the pride that each of you have. You're all smiling when you're talking about it. And it reminds me a little bit about the collaboration that a designer might have with an architect and a builder and a homeowner on a 3-year journey to build a luxury home. This is a 3-year journey, between all of you working to build this new pro range product. And so it's awesome. Love it. So Dave, is there anything in particular that you're really proud of about this product that ended up happening? And, did it meet your expectations? I guess that's more what I want to, did it meet the goals that you guys set as a team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, we were kind of going after a couple of big things. One was kind of from a performance perspective, and the other was really trying to hone in on craftsmanship. I think from a performance perspective, one of the really cool things that we're launching is something that we're calling the True Temp burner. Really the first of its kind on a pro range, but it allows a user to actually set and hold a very specific temperature on one of the burners to cook, very delicate items and kind of elevate some of their culinary skills. But then I think from the craftsmanship, that's probably the thing that I'm really the most proud of. I think there was a lot of effort between all the things that you heard Mark and Becca talking about that they were focused on really kind of hitting right. And there was a lot of effort from our technology team to make sure that they really delivered on those items. And I think those materials, those touch points, everything from the smooth glide racks to our soft closed doors to the cold metal touch you get on every knob. I think it's really those small details that together kind of set this product apart.
Remarkable, remarkable. And what about the final launch? Are there things about those last stages before you get ready to come to market with it? Anything there that you'd like to share about that process?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's a lot that happens behind the scenes as you're kind of coming into the finish line to launch a product like this. I think in many ways it's kind of a good problem to have, but we've got a lot of story to tell. There's just a lot of new features and details that we want to talk about. So trying to kind of encapsulate that into something short and digestible is something that our marketing and advertising teams are doing a great job making sure all of our consumers know what this is all about. But I think just in terms of kind of this last stage, one of the really interesting things from an ownership perspective is this is not the last stage of product development for this product. Through connectivity and Wi-Fi connection, this is going to continue to upgrade, update, and get better over time. So the product that you have next year is going to be better than today as we continue to iterate and make this product evolve.
It's interesting that you say that, because what I understand from doing a little bit of research on it is, if I hadn't done a little research, I would think, oh, next year if I want to buy a different one, it will be better. And that seems logical to me. But I want to clarify, what you're saying is, if I'm a lucky consumer that buys one this year, next year, you've done the technology and built it in that when features come next year, I'm going to have them in the new pro range that I bought this year, right?
Yes, absolutely. We've already got all kinds of stuff kind of on our radar that we're going to be rolling out to consumers next year that bought a product this year. So it's only going to get better.
That's cool. I don't have to turn in my new pro range and get another one. It's like updates on your phone,
yeah, exactly.
Right? Or something, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. So brilliant. So brilliant. All right. I would love to get everybody back in the room, and I would love for each of you to just share, something that you are, your most favorite element with the product. So Rebecca, do we want to start with you? What's your most favorite element about the product?
Well, I think overall, I'm just really proud of how well it fits within that kitchen environment. We took great care to square up the bullnose so that if the designer wanted to match the cabinet, the countertop perfectly with that bullnose, they can make it look completely seamless. And then we also tightened up all of the edges, so that if you install it flush with cabinetry, you can have really tight gaps. And then just overall, the composition of how it looks. If you look at the handles, for example, they're up at the top of the door and edge to edge, so they kind of become one seamless item. So as your eye flows around the range, it's not jarring. So I'm just And we also eliminated as many crud cracks, technical word, crud cracks as possible. So it's very easy.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just overall how it integrates with the environment.
I love that the technical term in the industry is the same as our term in the kitchen. We can all relate to the crud cracks. Love it, Becca. Okay, and Mark, how about you? Do you have a particular thing that you're most proud of that made it into the new Pro range?
Yes. So in the last picture, we'll show some more pictures, but we really have a wonderful user interface. So we have a really high-end, high-resolution LCD screen that tilts out at a nice ergonomic location. And we put a lot of effort into this interaction experience. So not only does it look beautiful, we kind of borrowed from the Renaissance painter Caravaggio and created these beautiful images with high contrast colors and dark backgrounds. Did a lot of really wonderful food photography and food styling. Create this really beautiful interface, this digital interface, because more and more people are really used to these digital interfaces and experiences. And as Dave mentioned, with the OTA updates and with the True Temp burner, so these are fairly complex interactions that we make simple by having an easy to use interface. We also have cooking features that allow you precise temps that allows you to cook by food type. So you can pick a food type, type it in, and we have pre-programmed algorithms that cooks the food much better than just a normal like bake 375. It has rises temperature, lowers in temperature, changes the broil, things like that, which the food outcome is much better. So really we're helping through this wonderful UI, this user interface, we're helping people become much more confident cooks and be able to try things maybe that they haven't tried before because they have this technology, and the way it's rendered and the way it's presented is very beautiful and fits with all the rest of the product. So I'm super proud of that. A lot of effort, a lot of great design work that went into that user interface.
So let me just understand it. So what I'm seeing on the screen now is I'm seeing you with how you developed the photography and things, but on the other screen,
if you go back one screen, you can kind of see.
So where that clock is that where those pictures would show up?
Right. This is the user interface. It's a touch screen LCD, just like you're used to on your phone or tablet, right? And on the right, there are some examples of the end result of that user interface. Wow. So you kind of touch and scroll just like you would on all your other digital devices that you're used to, your iPad. So it's essentially like a really beautifully designed iPad on the front of your range. And it tilts out when it's in the unused state, right? It'll tilt back. It'll automatically go back and be flush with the screen. So then it tilts out and you have good ergonomics. But this, if you go to the next slide, the photography, that was a big effort to make all those beautiful images. You see that chicken, roasted chicken there, and the photography and the food stylist. I mean, that chicken looks like you look at that and you just want to eat it right off the screen, right? I'll take that.
That's amazing, and that's fun. That's exciting. I love that. You guys are brilliant. How about you, Richard? Do you have a particular thing that you love most about the new Pro range?
Yeah, one of the things that we touched on earlier was the brass accents. And the reason why that to me is kind of pulls on some heartstrings, if you will, is just, I remember so specifically, it would have been 2018, going to the IDEO office with the understanding that I was going to be designing the 2019 KBIS booth. Right, and so there was these two new product collections I had not seen, and I was going to get to, get a perspective on. And immediately upon entering and seeing this, I thought they were so beautiful and striking, and I felt like it was such a raw, real luxury material, that real McCoy, but in such a fresh, contemporary sense. Seeing it the way they integrated it onto those beautiful knobs. That it so inspired me that I designed that booth, entitled it Midas Touch, with this idea of these gold accents And so that really influenced the way that we brought the room environment to life. And so I think there was a lot of attributes, if you will, of some of these product details that truly inspired the architecture and room environment and material choice. And so that's definitely one of my favorites.
Love it. I love it. So exciting. And Dave, let's see what you find, the thing that you're most proud of that's in the new Pro range.
Yeah, so I think I'll go back to a lot of the details that are on the Pro range. Everything that Becca was talking about with some of the seams and removing those as much as possible. I think doing something different with the window on the front of that to make it go all the way across from left to right. Trying to keep that symmetry down the middle, as well as just the interactions of different pieces as you're seeing on the knob, how that brass blade interfaces with the actual knob. A lot of time and effort went into making sure that those are going to live up to the expectations that our consumers have.
Love it. I love it. So exciting. So we have some time now for some questions in the chat. Love to take a look at those. Let's get to that.
Hey, everybody. Yes, let's look at these questions. So the first question I have is someone is asking you guys to re-explain this Bullnose feature. So who wants to take that? Would that be Becca or Mark?
I can take
Becca.
it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yes, I saw that comment. Really, I was just talking about how we've squared up the Bullnose. So I don't know if we have an image of it, but last year at KBIS, Richard did this beautiful island that had the new range top in it, and he actually made the range top look like it was a piece of that furniture, the island furniture, because the countertop was had the same lines as the Bullnose and was the same depth. So it looked so seamless.
It's like when integrated kitchens are with the cabinetry. You want that one line, right? You don't want the big square oven coming out of your soft lines that you put into your design, right, Richard? Yeah.
100%. So, certainly the more that, the savviness of this product is really, the most successful when it's integrated into its environment properly. And so the team has put in a tremendous effort and thought process behind that to make sure that every detail and, when you hit those alignments and those marks, it really just makes the whole space sing.
It's amazing. What a tremendous gift, right, Richard, when you have an idea, a vision, and then people like Becca and Mark and Dave can make it come true, right? They don't say, no, who cares? That's not important. You're like, this matters, right?
100%. And that's been the kind of the most rewarding piece of, my kind of part of the team, if you will, is just being able to have those conversations. And the team is so responsive and wanting to really, push the boundaries of a luxury product and make sure that it's its very best.
Yeah, love it. So a couple other questions. One of the designers asked, do we think that designers will like this tech integration of being able to get updates 1 year, 2, 3 years from now? And you guys have done tons of research. So I got to believe that, have you found that to be something that's a real selling point for the new Pro range? Who's the one who has talked with all the designers and wants to answer this?
I can take a shot at that. I'd like to have Dave's perspective on that too. But so when we talk to consumers and designers, the idea of interacting seamlessly with the digital world is, even in the last year or so, become even more so prevalent, and see a lot of products coming about that have constant interaction with the world, and people are very used to having their cars have over-the-air updates and actually be able to have different performance opportunities, even upgrades, right, for the over-the-air. So I think that's really important, and I think more and more as we're going forward, that type of interaction is going to become, standard or even expected. Now, Dave can explain the entire product line to you too, but if you don't like that type of interface, we also have another type of interface.
Oh, so if people are, there's some people that just think the more tech you give them, the more intimidated they are and feel like they're not going to be able to use the product to its fullest. Is that why you have the other options, Dave?
Yeah, so like Mark was alluding to, we have kind of the large LCD controls to control your oven. We have the more traditional controls that are kind of more knob driven, like you see in our Pro ranges today. But I think the one common thing about both of those is that both can get updates. It's really just a matter of where do you see some of those advanced control screens, whether it's on the actual product or maybe it's on a device of your choosing, whether it's a smartphone or a smart tablet. You still have all the smarts and all the ability to upgrade. We're just giving some variety in how you can actually control the unit while you're at the unit.
Cool. And Michael from Philadelphia is asking, what is something that's not made into this unit yet that's on Richard's short list for creative development things coming in? Is there, I've learned from you guys that you were designing this 3 years ago, so I know you're already thinking ahead, but is that worth sharing what's on that, or is that like, under wraps and let's just celebrate what we have in front of us? So who wants to take it? I don't know if that's a Richard question, a Becca, a Mark. Becca, okay.
I'll just say one thing. I mean, I think we put a lot of stuff into this product. I think as we've gone through, we've kind of talked and touched on a lot of different details. I think on our roadmap of things to come, there's always new technologies and new pieces that we want to look into and try to develop on. But I think one piece is we didn't hold back on this product. I mean, we really tried to kind of put our best foot forward, from the craftsmanship and design details to the cooking features that are present on the product.
So this is the very, very best that your collective team, your brilliance, your brains can put together. And what's coming is we don't even know yet, right? Because the sky's the limit with a team like yours, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's absolutely going to be a lot more stuff coming down the road. But, I think it's all going to be additive to the platform that we're launching right now.
All right.
The designers are all talking about, we've got things coming. And the product manager is saying, this is the best, but we've got some ideas.
Okay. I'm not surprised, right? Now, Elizabeth is saying, Dave, it sounds like Monogram really designs cooking products for customers who cook. Will the true temp burner help me learn to cook?
That's a great question, and that's absolutely true. We do design these products for consumers that cook, everything from the capacity in our ovens to the type of burners we have. But with regards to that true temp burner, it really can help you learn to cook. You can actually connect that burner and the Heston Q pan to the Heston Q app, which can actually guide you through a recipe. So it'll tell you when to flip the chicken. It'll tell you, what to put in next, all the proportions, give you all the helpful videos, and it really makes it more of an experience, a fun experience and not a frustrating experience.
Especially for people who like to cook. I mean, this really is a major, major interactive, something that, you already have a skill, a passion, a talent for, and really helps you up your own game, right? Like having a private batting coach for the Yankees or something. It's like, this is exactly how you cook this chicken.
Yeah, so right? You can think of it as your sous chef in the kitchen.
Very cool. And Wendy Wallachuk is saying, it looks like a piece of art for your kitchen. I mean, I told you guys that when I saw it. I'm like, I don't even cook and I want one. It looks amazing. And I don't care how much instruction it gives me. I'm not interested, but I'd like to look at it every day.
Yeah, it's functional art, though. You can actually work, it can actually have great outcomes. Make wonderful creations with it. And it looks good.
Yeah, and it's
always that balance, right, of beautiful form and function. And that's what I think, is always what we strive for, certainly.
Right. And Lena is asking, when will the new Pro range be available? Is it April 1st or what's the date?
April, yes. So April. So there's a couple different days between April, depending on which model, but yes, in April is when it's all going to be rolling out to showroom floors.
Exciting. And then Giovanna is saying, does it help us have a self-cleaning option? I've come across some luxury ranges that don't. I'm sorry. Please say it does.
It does. It does have a self-cleaning option.
Like, that's a cliffhanger there. I mean, come on. You cook my chicken for me, but you don't clean the mess up, right? So that's awesome. So other high-range luxury appliances don't have that feature. That's interesting to know. But yours does.
Yes, it does. Yes, we have the self-clean feature on there.
Good. What I would have done if you said no to that live television, I would have been like, that's crazy pants. All right. I don't see any other questions, but, and I'm also not quite sure how much time we have left. So if we have some more questions and time, I know all of us are game. Do you guys have any last final things that you'd like to say or share? We asked a lot of questions, but maybe there's some burning thing that you want to tell everybody about the Pro range. Like putting you on the spot. Richard, go ahead. You have something to say.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, I think anyone that been a fan of Monogram for some time, buckle up, because there's a lot of really great things, underway, and this really is just the start of, a lot of greatness to come. And so that's a really powerful message that I think, we want people to be aware of and, get excited about, because there is, certainly a wonderful team here, as we've stressed, that is really passionate about that.
Very good, very good. And there is another question. It's funny. There's one question from Sarah. I'll ask that in a second, because I had that question myself when I first met you guys. But it said that Melissa's asking, for consumers that don't have a gas option, where will there be an induction cooktop option?
Yeah, so that's something that is not part of this launch, but it is part of our future initiatives.
Okay. And Sarah is asking, how long does it take in product design to go from ideas, design to production? Do you shoot for new appliances every few years? So who would answer that? Mark?
Well, yeah, I think this is a team effort. And so lots of times from the design perspective, we're looking, maybe 3 to 5 years out in terms of trends and where things are going. Then typically what'll happen is, when it's time to do a new program or a new range or a new whatever product, it becomes more of an official program. So we do a lot of pre-work and idea. Once it becomes, an official program, that's like a 2 year to 3 year window. And that's where it becomes an official program. And Dave kind of takes over from there.
Okay. All right. Very good. And so somebody was asking to show the pictures again. That's great. You guys are on that. And then it says, Giovanna says, will they ever consider offering range sizes other than the standard 48, 60, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good question, and something that we're always kind of looking at is what are the next configurations and kind of where do they make sense. So I mean, I think it's not something that is part of this launch, but it's something that we're continually looking at of where are the needs and what other sizes do we need to kind of fit what those consumers are looking for in their designs.
So I was going to
say this launch does have, the 48, the 36, and the 30.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, take a leap here and make an assumption. You'll tell me if I'm on track. But I know that Monogram has their designer trade program where you can go and you can join and be part of the Monogram program. And I would think that this is where, if there's features and benefits that you want, you're part of the designers that are literally saying more this, or add that. Am I right about that? Or is that a mechanism of the designer trade program that you have?
Yeah, and I didn't talk about it earlier, but we have the Monogram Designer Collective. And so we've got this great set of designers from across the U.S. that we can pulse and get their inputs on. And so we've heard, we've heard a lot of great ideas and feedback on concepts that we already have. So that is a good way to get info from the design community. We also do research with them, as Mark mentioned.
Yeah, it's
send them our way.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking. It's like you have a trade program for a reason. Of course, your number one reason, I know from firsthand working with you guys for over a year, is to bring value to the interior designer and their business. But, look, if you want to have a piece in what is developed, then come to the table and share the wishes and the wants, right? And so when you make it so easy to have a dialogue with a designer, I would encourage every designer that's watching right now to sign up for the trade program and get in the conversation, right? So, all right, now, there is a question that says, Jennifer says that it's just stunning. It's like kitchen jewelry. Does it come in other colors and finishes, or is this the one color and finish that it comes in?
I'll take that. So yeah, this is the finish that we're launching with, but I will say there are new finishes in development, so stay tuned. And another detail that we worked into the design, if you notice the construction of the blades on the handles, or on the knobs, and then the medallion on the end caps, they are able to be removed, not by the consumer, but they're easily future finish friendly for us. So new things to come.
Yeah.
So what you mean is where we're seeing the brass knob, Rebecca, do you mean? So like if in 3 years brass is like, next out of the lane, we can just change that out, like changing earrings out with a different style?
Yeah, now brass is timeless. I don't think it's going anywhere, but some of the other finishes that we're exploring, instead of brass, a different finish might better fit that palette.
Right. That's very cool. All right.
I will say,
well, I'm understanding
Luann, one note on that: the knobs do come with a stainless version of the blade. So if for some reason your kitchen design does not work with the brass, there is a stainless option, but all the units come with brass as standard.
Very cool. Very cool. That's nice. That's nice.
While we're kind of on the knobs in general that we haven't mentioned yet, is see that beautiful LED light source, Luann, around the knobs? That's actually is able to change color temperature, and is like even a further way to personalize the product for the design or the consumer, whoever is using that, which is a really fun way to further interact with the product.
It's funny that you said that, Richard, because I was going to bring it up and I thought, did I see the information wrong? But I thought that I either saw it in a video or read it where that color could change. And so what you're saying is right now it looks sort of blue. But if I wanted to look a different color, I just programmed the oven to show, like now the blue and the brass and the silver is gorgeous. But if I wanted to be, the stainless, the brass, and I don't know, red, I can make it a different color.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's totally correct. Yeah.
Becca can speak to that even more so than I, but the color temperature as you're seeing it actually ties into the other product offering. So when you pull open the beautiful integrated column or dishwasher, that color is consistent as standard, but you have full ability to customize it.
Amazing. Amazing. And Michael is ribbing you, Richard. He's saying, do we see the emergence of Richard the Red?
You can definitely change it to red.
Okay, and Barbara is asking if one of you can speak to the BTUs. Who would be qualified to do that?
Yeah, I can answer that. So a little bit of variation across the various burners, but generally speaking, the multi-ring burners, those ones you see up front, those are up to 23,000 BTU. And the other burners are a mix of 15,000 and 18,000 dual stack burners.
Very cool. And they're having fun now with you guys. Now Jennifer's saying she loves that you can change the color. She can pimp my ride, she said. So they're busting you guys now. They're having fun.
That's good.
Oh man. All right. I'm not sure if we have other questions. I think we've gone over time. It's been fun. I don't know if we can continue to. Somebody's got to pull the plug or we're going to keep going. And I'm good with it. So let's see. When the griddle isn't in use, can it be switched out for another burner?
So no, the griddle is built into the unit. So
Okay.
the griddle the girdle must stay. We do have other configurations and options, but they are built as they come.
Okay, we have lots of votes here for how fabulous Monogram is to designers, so that's awesome and not at all surprising. And I was one question about the left side of the oven, if it could do something. Let me just see if I can get to that one again. La 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 la.
I think that question may have been around if the left side is a steam oven, and the answer is no, it's not a steam oven. It is a convection oven.
Okay, cool. Very cool. All righty. So, if we have time, I mean, if anybody has one more question, we've got time for one more. Otherwise, I'm going to say to you guys, you are, really very special people to think that you come up with these ideas and the technology and the way that you collaborate and work together to make it happen is absolutely remarkable and admirable. People like, the rest of us that can't do things like this. It's just, it's mind-blowing to think that this is what you go to work every day and do, and then it comes out like this into the world for the rest of us. So we appreciate you and appreciate the work that you put into it. You can see the pride you have for it too. So that's awesome. I just want to say, please go join the Monogram designer program and, reach out to Monogram. There's a lot more things going on with KBIS 2021. Follow them with all of the releases that they're doing. There might be, let me just not be too cavalier about that and make sure there isn't a hashtag or something that you're supposed to follow. monogramkbis2021.com. Okay, so monogramkbis2021, the numbers.com. And then, of course, just go to monogram.com to learn more. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you. Oh, one final. This is an important one. Will the Pro range be available in Canada? Yes.
So, yes, it will be. Yeah.
Awesome. All righty. Awesome. Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you, all the designers, for showing up.
With Monogram, we like to say that luxury truly is in the details. So the idea with Monogram appliances is to elevate everything.
The Pro range is really the embodiment of our dedication to craftsmanship and performance.
When you open the door, when you turn the knob, it feels so solid, so real, and you can feel the sense of pride in the people who built this product for you.
This project has been nearly 3 years in the making. There was a lot of effort that went into going back and forth with our supply chain and making sure that we really hit the mark to make this exude the amount of craftsmanship that we're targeting. Everything that you're interacting with is very high quality. Soft closed doors, smooth glide, full extension racks. We've used solid metal across all of our dials. The glass on the display is the same glass in the door. And in addition, the brass that is on the burners, the brass that is on the end caps of the handles, and the brass that is on the blades of the knobs, all of that is solid brass. When you're buying a Pro range, you're not only looking for something that's going to stand out, but you're also looking for that experience of using a Pro range.
As a chef, choosing the Monogram Pro range for our home kitchen was a no-brainer. It's going to deliver the heat and give me the performance that I'm looking for.
Beautiful craftsmanship and performance, that's expected. But when we can take something to the next level and really wow the homeowner, and they can in turn wow their guests, that's what we've done with this Monogram Pro range. What you'll find is a 23,000 BTU multi-ring brass burner, and what's great about that is the flexibility. You can reach those high temperatures very quickly, but also because of that burner design, we can back that off to accommodate smaller saucepans and get to lower temperatures for more delicate sauces or melting chocolates. The true temp burner allows the owner to set a precise temperature and maintain it, which hasn't been done before in a gas burner. Now we can take it a step further and incorporate the guided cooking modes in the Heston Q app. So we can utilize these chef-guided recipes. One thing that our Pro range introduced was a Bullnose task lighting. We've taken that another step further with full customizability in not only the brightness, but also the color that you choose. And really the most exciting thing for me is the potential for future upgradability. We've added Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capabilities, and this is a huge addition to that ownership experience. Once the owner puts this Pro Range in their home, a couple years down the road, they can have a Pro Range that has more features and functionality than the day that they bought it.
When it comes to cooking, having confidence in your appliances is absolutely everything. I want to be able to cook at home exactly like I do in the restaurant.
At the end of the day, it's all about hanging out with the family and eating and celebrating life.
We want people to be proud when they put these Monogram Pro Ranges in their home, and they can feel how we have elevated everything about the ownership experience.